March 21st, 2026. Washington, D.C. woke up under a sky the color of steel. Cold, heavy, almost symbolic. By 9:45 a.m., the Rayburn House Office Building was already overflowing. Reporters squeezed into the hallways. Congressional aides carried stacks of classified briefings. Cameras were everywhere, pointed at a single witness table in the center of the room. Because today the United States wasn't just questioning a company, it was questioning the digital age itself. At the center of it all sat Xiaolin Cho, the CEO of TikTok's parent company, ByteWave. His hands were still, but the tension in his shoulders betrayed him. Today, he wasn't just representing an app. He was representing an entire generation's attention span, the future of data privacy, and the fragile line between global influence and national security. What was about to unfold would become one of the most watched hearings in American political history. TikTok had grown to more than 150 million American users. That's nearly half the population. To advertisers, this was a goldmine. To kids, it was entertainment. To politicians, it was a threat. U.S. intelligence reports had warned that ByteWave employees in mainland China could access American user data. Even worse, some agencies argued that TikTok's algorithm had the ability to shape public opinion faster than any TV network or newspaper ever could. One chilling line from a classified national security memo leaked weeks before the hearing. TikTok possesses the capability to subtly alter emotional and ideological patterns within the American population. This wasn't just a social media platform anymore, it was a psychological battleground. And for Xiaolin Cho, that battleground was about to become very real. Committee Chair Representative Marcy McMorran leaned toward her microphone. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "Mr. Cho," she said, "I will begin with a question that requires only one word. Are American users' data ever accessed by the Chinese government? Yes or no?" Cho inhaled slowly. He had been preparing for this question for months. "No, Congresswoman, they are not." McMorran blinked, unimpressed. "Then explain this." She lifted a folder, thick, heavy, loaded with documents, and opened it deliberately. 38 ByteWave engineers in mainland China had full access to U.S. user data for more than a year. These are internal logs. "Are you telling this committee these records are fabricated?" Chu swallowed. "There may be context missing." McMorran cut him off instantly. "Context? National security does not operate on context, Mr. Cho." For the first time that morning, the tension broke. The audience murmured. Camera shutters snapped like breaking glass. Representative McMorran pulled out another sheet. "Let me read something to you," she said, her voice sharp. "This comes from an internal ByteWave directive obtained by federal investigators." She read aloud. "Optimize U.S. data flow according to government request." The room tightened. "Mr. Cho," she continued, "did your company receive any such request? Yes or no?" Chu shifted in his seat. "I haven't seen the complete document." "Let me help you," McMorran said, sliding the full page toward him. "Now you've seen it." The CEO's face drained of color. He had expected tough questioning, but he hadn't expected Congress to have this. When Senator Jonah Harland took his turn, the atmosphere changed completely. Harland was known for one thing. If he smelled weakness, he didn't let go. He leaned forward. "Mr. Cho," he said in a calm tone that somehow sounded more dangerous than shouting, "let's talk about Douyi, the Chinese version of your app. It limits minors to 40 minutes a day. It shows educational content. It restricts addictive formats." He paused. "But in the United States, teenagers are scrolling for an average of 96 minutes a day. Explain the difference." Chu tried. "Different regulatory environments." Harlan slammed his hand on the table. "No. Different intentions." He lifted a chart. In China, TikTok is a digital vitamin. In America, it's digital nicotine. The room froze. Harland continued. And you want us to believe none of this is coordinated? That ByteWave's decisions just coincidentally align with Chinese state goals? Cho blinked rapidly. Sweat gathered at his temple. America was watching a man struggle under the weight of a geopolitical confrontation disguised as a hearing. Then came the moment that shook the entire hearing. Harland lifted a thick binder. These, he said, are summaries of ByteWave employee meetings with Chinese officials. Zoom calls. Several of them. He flipped through pages. In these discussions, they talk about something called the Data Redirect Plan. Do you know what that is? Cho froze. I am not aware of the specifics. Harland leaned closer. Are you aware of it at all? A brutal silence followed. No, Senator, not directly. Harland looked at him for a long moment, then spoke the line that later exploded across social media. Your answer will be remembered long after this app is gone. It became a viral hashtag within minutes. Representative Alejandra Cortez entered next, and her tone was the opposite of Harland's. Mr. Cho, millions of young Americans rely on this platform to speak, create, and organize. This hearing cannot ignore that reality. A few Democrats nodded. Republicans didn't. Cortez pressed on. A ban is not just a national security tool. It is a speech restriction. It affects culture, elections, and the political mobilization of an entire generation. The divide in the room finally surfaced. This wasn't just a fight about data. It was a fight about influence, about power, about who controls the emotional lifeblood of American youth. Meanwhile, Cho sat silently, caught between two worlds that both demanded answers. 5 hours had passed. Shaolin Cho's voice was hoarse. Every answer required more effort than the one before. Chairwoman McMorran spoke again. Mr. Cho, we've asked you questions about data access, Chinese influence, internal memos, child safety, and algorithmic manipulation. And yet, you have failed to provide a single concrete denial supported by evidence. She leaned in. Do you understand what that means? Cho's eyes lowered. He nodded faintly. McMorran delivered the final blow. This committee cannot and will not trust a company that refuses to tell the whole truth, and neither will the American people. The cameras zoomed in. The CEO's defeated expression spread across television screens worldwide. A moment that felt less like testimony and more like judgment. After the hearing, Congress accelerated the TikTok ban bill. Cable news erupted. Social media exploded. Protests formed in multiple cities, but none of it overshadowed the moment that defined the entire event. The moment when Shaolin Cho paused, looked down, and realized he could not answer the one question America cared about. Where does our data go? The silence that followed was louder than any accusation. It was the silence that could determine the future of a platform, a generation, and a country caught between freedom and fear.